Hey, good morning. It is June 9th, 2009. This is an edition of The Question, Blog Talk Radio conversation with me, Doug Padgett, your host. One day a week during the summer on Tuesdays in a ongoing conversation we try to have around here about things going on in the news, things happening in your world, in my world, in other people's worlds. And I invite you to join in the conversation. You can click to talk if you're logged in over at Blog Talk Radio. You can call in on the studio line, which is 646-929-1199. You can enter into either of the chat rooms, either over at Blog Talk Radio or over at the Ustream feed. So if you're not logged into both places, appreciate it if you would. And if you just want to listen in and you don't want to make yourself known, I know this happens to a lot of you, you're more than welcome to do that. You're also, if you're listening on the archives, you're welcome to listen to us live, broadcasting live on Tuesdays from 9:30 a.m. Central Time until noon Central Time, except today. Today we're going to be off air at 11:30, a little bit of a program change here to let you know what's going on in the programming. We're going to be joined by natural health coach Shelly Padgett at 10 o'clock in half an hour. We're going to be joined by parenting commentator and specialist Carla Barnhill at 10:30. We're going to be joined by Tony Jones at 11. Now, normally at 11 o'clock hour, we'd be joined by Steve Scherber, but not today. Today, Steve Scherber has to take the day off, and we're letting him do so. So he's having the day off, and we are going to be joined by Tony Jones at 11. Hey, glad to have you all aboard. Lots going on around here in the Padgett life, I can tell you that. A lot going on. I am heading off on a book tour on Thursday, driving out to Durango, Colorado. And from Durango, Colorado, we're going to perform the show. It's a live occurrence of my book, A Christianity Worth Believing. If you haven't yet picked it up, please join the masses. Give it a look, give it a read, buy a couple copies for people you know, and give them away. And please, just say no to libraries. Remember, they are the Napster for authors. And maybe you've been saying to yourself, hey, you know what? It's killing me. I love the book, love the ideas, love the flow, love the editing. Thank you, Carla. I think it's great. But you know what? I have these friends of mine. I have these friends who only speak Korean. What are they going to do? I'd like for them to enjoy A Christianity Worth Believing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the question today brought to you by A Christianity Worth Believing in Korean. That's right. The book has now been translated into Korean, and I received yesterday 5 copies from the publisher. And I got to tell you, I am highly impressed with their design sensibilities on the cover. If you're watching this on the video, you can see it. If you are watching it on or listening to it just on the audio feed, I don't know, you have to go look it up on Amazon.Korea, or I don't know where you order these books. But here it is, the entire book in Korean. I mean, it's fabulous. I know no Korean. I realized. Annyeong. That's the closest I get to Korean. Annyeong, which means hello, because I watch Arrested Development. That's as far as I that's as far as I get when it comes to the Korean. But I'll tell you what, people. Here it is, A Christianity Worth Believing in Korean, and it's got a nice color tone, and it even has a flap an extra flap that goes around the front in sort of a design effort. It's just fabulous. If any chance I could ever have to get over to Korea and see anybody with my book in Korea, I would love it. And I'm thinking that maybe they're going to make me the Christian envoy to North Korea. Kim Jong-il should take a little taste of this. Then we can talk about nuclear weapons and arresting journalists and the rest of it. Hey, so anyway, I'm going on a book tour on Thursday, going out to Durango, Colorado, and then heading up to Denver, and then to Colorado Springs, and then to Lincoln, Nebraska, and then to Chicago, Illinois. That's leg one. And then heading down to Little Rock, Arkansas via Des Moines, Kansas City, then Little Rock, then over to Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and then back up to Minneapolis. From there, we'll be heading out to, I think it's Columbus, Ohio first, Battle Creek, Michigan, Indianapolis, one other place, then Madison, Wisconsin, and then back home for the summer tour of Christianity Worth Believing. And by the way, folks, these are not just summer tours. So if you're interested in the tour, if you're interested in a little show up, if you're interested in a little play from the Christianity Worth Believing live occurrence, I'd be glad to come and join you. Wouldn't bother me at all. Hey, this is a Blog Talk Radio conversation called The Question with me, Doug Padgett, your host on Tuesdays for 2.5 hours. And glad to have you all aboard. If you'd like to call in, maybe you'd like to book a show right here live. 646-929-1199. Talk about anything you'd like. I'm just going to give you a couple little updates. And then I've got an audio clip to play for you after the news break, which is brought to you by the Onion Radio Network. So we're going to talk about that. A little audio clip put together by that I took off of a Fresh Air episode. Episode of Fresh Air with Terry Gross. Fresh Air. She's a radio professional. I can only speak in the highest honoring terms to my good friend over there at Fresh Air, Terry Gross. Love to have you on the show someday, Terry, too, by the way. And so if you'd like to be on, you let me know, and I'll make room for you. You could even call in. I'd even let you co-host a segment if you'd like to. But anyway, I'm going to play a little audio clip from a Terry Gross show with a linguist, and I thought it was just terrific. Might even post it podcast old style over at DougPadgett.com. By the way, that's also the place where you can find all the information you need to know about a Christianity Worth Believing live occurrences. So, hey, and that's the other thing that's been that's been happening in my life is getting ready for this book tour. I mean, I've had to put together like a 2-hour show, and we had a rehearsal last night, sort of a run through, and I don't know how to say it. It didn't go as seamless as I had hoped. You could really see the seams, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, it was tough. It was 40 minutes too long. We have to cut a bunch of time out of it. We have to I have to tighten up a bunch of pieces. I have to rework some readings. I mean, re-edit, where I start and where I stop in the readings. I have to rework some monologues. I mean, we got a show in Durango, Colorado on Friday night. I still got to drive all the way out there in the van. Yeah, we're doing this book tour, driving in my Dodge Caravan, 2001 Dodge Caravan. You know what I've decided? I've decided that in 30 years, those Dodge Caravans are going to be classics. That company's going to be out of business. You can't buy them anymore, and people are going to go, man, if I could just get my hands on one of those, turn of the millennia Dodge Caravans. And I'll say things like, oh, yeah, back then, 09, I was traveling the country in one of those. And the great-grandkids will say, Pappy, you drove the country in a Dodge Caravan? How fantastic. What was that like? And I'll say, oh, we loaded all the stuff up in the back, and I was going around and playing stadiums. I'll make up whole new stories for the kids. So anyway, going to be touring along in that, and it has just been a lot of work to get this thing ready to go, get this thing all revved up. But thrilled about it. I'm really impressed with what we've got going on with the show. I mean, not to overstate, not impressed just with the content of the book, but impressed with the way that the show is coming together. It's got music, it's got video, it's got monologues, it's got readings, it's got some humor, it's got lots of stuff going on the screen. We got a little set built. I mean, it's, when you're trying to sell a book, you do whatever you can, and I'm awfully pleased with the way that this one has come together. So be tracking this along. If you follow on Twitter, if you follow on Facebook, if you follow on DougPadgett.com, you'll be able to keep up with some of the shows. As you know, the news breaks here are brought to you by the Onion Radio Network.
A coalition of hobos and raccoons collapses over a meaty